Tiempo, Mi Patria Puerto Rico, an organization founded by Puerto Rican military veterans born here in New York. That group volunteers on the island to help families rebuild after natural disasters. Puerto Rico, Puerto Rican military veterans born here in New York. They created and they built this organization. The group volunteers on the island to help families rebuild after natural disasters. We featured them on the show, you might remember, last year. Now they're back to update us on the latest current projects underway on the island. So back with us on the show this morning, the founders of Mi Patria, Raymond Collazo and Carmen Iris Santiago. So good to have you guys back. You've gotten so much done in the short amount of time between visits. But for a refresher course, in case the people last year either don't remember your visit or they weren't watching Mi Patria, give them the sort of basics of how it was founded and what is the mission of this organization.
Yes, absolutely. Today's actually our 3-year anniversary.
Felicidades.
So thank you so much. And we created this nonprofit organization, 501c3, back May 25th, 2022. And it was created to combat displacement. We do it in 3 different prongs. We're both military veterans. We encourage other military veterans to volunteer with us to assist them in their transition to civilian life and through the different programs in fixing homes, rehabilitating homes, providing art and music workshops at schools, public schools, led by military veterans, and providing disaster aid, disaster preparedness.
But Carmen, you saw the need for this? I mean, the two of you were out of your service and you were back on the island, which is home to both of you. You saw this and said, here's a hole that we need to fill, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. We were actually working on, that's how we met. We were working on the ground doing humanitarian work, and we noticed this gap, and we thought, well, let's see how we can fill it in with our, talents.
Yes, and you guys are go-getters in the military, which is what makes this organization work as well as it does. Okay, let's walk through some of the things. You got an approval for a grant.
Yes.
Since your last visit. How much money and what will that allow you to do?
Absolutely. Carmen?
Carmen.
So we got a federal home loan back in New York. Actually, they saw us on this show.
Ay, qué bueno.
And they reached out.
Okay.
And we were $200,000 to be able to rehabilitate and fix 3 female veteran homes, which we have already finished 2. We have 1 more to go. This is actually news. Nobody knows this yet. We were able to now put 4 on with that.
Breaking news right here on Tiempo. Where are the houses that you worked on?
There's going to be 3 in Isabela, and there's 1 in Omnigueros.
When you say rehabilitate, in qué manera? What does a rehabilitation mean?
So it depends on the case. Not each case is the same. In these instances, the 3 homes for the female veterans in Isabela, we had to fix the roof. We had to seal it. It was leaking drastically. We had to fix the inside aspect of the ceiling, empañetarlo. We had to make sure that there were aleros fixed so the water can properly drain from the roof.
Right.
Aside from that, power washing, we had to do some plastering on the outside of the wall too, make sure that there wasn't any type of mold issue as well. Demolition of some old structures. That's just one of the aspects, and one of the other homes is fixing also a fence that had been destroyed from árboles, trees that were falling.
Where do you find contractors to do that kind of work? I mean, I'm guessing that was not what you were raised doing.
No, yeah, we rely on the community to be able to give us information, and then we build these relationships, and then we have a few crews that we work with, and then we kind of rotate them, see who's available, what's their expertise, and we kind of do it that way.
Word spreads quickly, right?
Very quickly.
You applied for assistance from the AmeriCorps in the form of 4, was it, service members?
Yes, correct. 4 service members in capacity building from AmeriCorps Vista. So thankfully, we were able to retain that. We've already recruited 3 of those. We're still looking to recruit 1 more, and that should begin June 2nd.
And what do you have those go-getters do?
They're going to help us build the capacity of our organization. What that means is we're going to have a service member dedicated to programs, developing our programs. 1 service member dedicated to fundraising and development of the organization, helping us find other grants. Another service member dedicated to volunteer recruitment and management, assigning them to the proper places and locations, projects. And then the last person is our communications manager to assist us with our social media content, etc.
And dealing with people like Tiempo.
Yes.
having those extra hands allows you to do your other things better?
Absolutely, it takes things off our plate.
Yes.
To be able to give them the work that we need to get done,
Sure.
and we can concentrate more on strategy and creating the growth.
You mentioned Isabela, el municipio de Isabela, land development you got going on there, and Paseo Pablo Pérez.
Yes,
What
yes.
are those two issues going on in
Okay,
Isabela?
so I'll touch on the land. We're looking, so when we had mentioned about the rehabilitation of homes, we're not only looking to fix homes, but we're also looking to do so in a sustainable fashion. So we're doing our best to not only cultivate hemp as a building material,
Sure.
But also the processing aspect of it. So that land, a little less than 15 acres of land,
Okay.
is what we're going to be using to grow the hemp and then process it.
And then that leads to long-term sustainability, correct? For help with future projects down the road.
Yes, correct.
Correct.
Okay, we'll get to the second part of that when we come back. We're up
Okay.
against the break, so sit tight. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation with the founders of Mi Patria Puerto Rico and the volunteer work that they do on the island. So effective when we come right back. Tiempo, Mi Patria Puerto Rico. It's an organization founded by Puerto Rican military veterans born here in New York. That group volunteers on the island to help families rebuild after natural disasters, among the many things that they do. We have featured them on the show. They were here last year. Now they're back, updating us on the latest projects that are now underway on the island. There are many. Here with us once again from Mi Patria, Raymond Collazo and Carmen Iris Santiago. Before we let it go, I wanted to get back to Isabela, Paseo Pablo Pérez. What's happening there?
That was a micro grant that we got, well, Isabela got with various organizations to help revitalize an area that was abandoned after Hurricane Maria. We did over 600 feet of murals. That was our portion of it.
Wow.
Floor murals, wall murals, various artists. It was amazing.
That's a super rewarding project, right? Because you visually see the work that
Yeah,
you've
so
been
now
that's been
it's
done.
usable for the community to be able to
At
come in.
Paseo, working once again. Art and music therapy workshops. You know, that tells me that it's much more than just building houses and rehabilitating. You have them going on in public schools, Isabela, Peñuelas, San Lorenzo.
Manatí.
Manatí también?
Sí, también.
Okay, so when you say art and music therapy workshop, what's happening in those workshops?
Yes, so they're led by mostly military veterans that are in the process of their transition, and they each have their different capacities. For example, Carmen is not only a graphic designer by trade, but she's also capable of expressing herself through art. So we go to these public schools and we have with these workshops where we empower the children to express themselves in a positive fashion to combat the different emotions that one might be experiencing within Puerto Rico from the natural disasters, from economic issues, etc. So it's a little bit of healing from the provider and
Yep. And I would think that goes a long way, especially with the young children who, by the way, with everyone else, are living through blackouts and power outages and those sorts of things. For them to express themselves, what an outlet, right?
Yeah, helping manage their emotions and helping give them the tools.
And I think for you, it could get emotional looking at what they're putting on paper or on the art wall. That is fantastic. I know that because of the change at the administration at the federal level, some of the grants and applications that you've put in are kind of in
limbo.
In limbo right now. So can people who see the work that you do contribute? En qué manera? I would guess you've got a place on your website.
Absolutely. You can donate to mipatria.org. You can go on the website, go to the donate page. All of the contributions are tax deductible. You can follow us on social media. There's also, we end up having some type of fundraisers through there.
Right.
Write checks to our P.O. box and participate in our fundraising events.
And that money goes to?
Directly to the people in Puerto Rico.
En qué manera? You know, in terms of supplies, in terms of work?
Materials for the homes that we're fixing, for the volunteers, food as well, so that we can continue to take care of these families that are just, in dire need.
Happy anniversary, 3 years. What you've accomplished in 3 years is just mind-numbing. You know, military veterans get things done and get things done quickly. So you've done in 3 years what I've seen other organizations do in 10. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Have you set some goals for down the road as to, where we're going next and here's what we want to do? Share with us.
Yeah, well, one of the main things we want to do is get the hemp off the ground. We're in the beginning stages of that. It's really important not only for the capacity building of the organization and for having the materials, but also for workforce development, training people, giving people, knowledge and jobs that they could actually live with and economy-wise. We want to be able to buy land as well to be able to build and have a base of operations that we can work out of, and also have volunteers come in and volunteer housing. There's so much that needs to be done, and we want to be able to train people and have people on the team.
Raymond, do you find find that the ball gets rolling, and as it rolls, it gets bigger.
Yes,
and
definitely.
And by that I mean, word spreads. People see you on Tiempo. The video is out. It's on social media that you guys are go-getters and get things done. So people want to be part of it. But that also increases the demands on you and the staff. How do you stay ahead of that?
That's the main challenge that we're experiencing, and that's with the assistance from the Vista service members. We'll be able to recruit the right volunteers to assist us, recruit the proper corporate sponsors, et cetera, that can help us in providing those administrative expenses to run the organization, so that as many of the individual funders, that money goes directly to the families in need.
Website again is
mipatria.org.
All right, you go to that website, hit the button there on the donate page, and help out an organization. Fantastic work.
Gracias, Joe.
We'll see you again next year when you tell us all the other things that you've done.
Absolutely.
I pray that be the
Continued
case.
success
Yes.
to you guys. Y a ustedes, mil gracias at home. Thank you once again for spending part of your Sunday with us. I'm Joe Torres. We'll see you next time for another edition of
Tiempo!